Hello, I am Father Mike Duckowitz. I'm the director of the Addiction Recovery Ministry. And every Monday at 1 o'clock, we take a few moments to look at different issues that are surrounding addiction recovery. We have in the past looked at the 12 steps, the 12 traditions, the 12 promises, and now we're looking at some of those phrases we hear so often when we go to 12-step meetings. Today, I'm going to look at the phrase principles before personalities. That's a very simple phrase. It's simple, it's direct, but it can be really, really difficult to put into practice. I'd imagine that many of us have been to some kind of a function, or perhaps even a meeting. There may be an opportunity in the meeting for questions. We see a particular person stands up who always seems to have something to say, who always seems to have a question to ask. And we groan inside because we find that person so annoying, so irritating. So we just close down. We stop. We don't even bother to listen to what they're saying because they just annoy us so much. That's kind of an example of how we can put personalities before principles, and how by doing that we rob ourselves often of some really important insight. As many of you know, I'm a priest, and I've been to several meetings at the diocese of priests. And it comes time for questions, and one or two guys stand up, who always stand up, who always have questions, and who are always annoying. And I find myself just kind of shutting down, not even hearing anything they have to say. And I'd venture a guess that many of you are like me, that we have been at those meetings, we've seen that particular member get up, and we all just groaned inside. We don't even hear what they're saying because they annoy us to such a degree. Perhaps that person will go on and on and on, or perhaps that person is just too negative, or perhaps that person's personality is so overpowering that it's just too much for us to even tolerate. So we just shut down. We don't bother to listen or hear what's being said. When we do that, we allow the personality of that person to drown out the message. We become sometimes so fixated on the personality that we don't even have the desire to listen to what they might be saying. Perhaps they're saying something important, something that needs to be heard, but we don't even try to hear it. And that's on us. Because we're the ones who decide whether or not to choose to listen or to tune out the person. The result is that we can miss hearing a really important insight because perhaps our ego gets in the way. Perhaps our ego somehow justifies us in saying that we have the ability to judge that person simply because their personality might be difficult or a personality that rubs us the wrong way. Now, the really sad thing about that is we've all heard this statement at meetings: don't leave before the miracle happens. The miracle can happen in so many ways. Oftentimes, the miracle happens when we learn to listen to the principle, regardless of the personality. When we listen to what the person is saying, sometimes we can really experience a real insight that if we allow the personality to get in the way of the message, we would not hear the message. The miracle can often be hearing something important from a person with whom we have difficulty. The idea of playing principles before personalities doesn't just apply to 12-step meetings and 12-step living life. It applies to our whole life. It applies to everything, every experience we have, to learn to listen to the message regardless of the messenger. To not allow the messenger to become the content of the message. Way too often we do that, not just in meetings, but in families, in business. We allow ourselves to be prejudiced against the person, and that prejudice obscures the message. And it seems to me that today, in our nation particularly, we really need to practice this principle. We really need to place principles before personalities. We live in a time where so many people are so angry, where judgments are so often made. So perhaps this motto from 12-step recovery can be applied not just in our lives, but also in the lives of our nations. So I encourage you to be aware of this aspect of your life, to work really diligently of placing principles before personalities. Let's conclude today by together praying the Serenity Prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Goodbye. God bless.